just really housekeeping.
Oh, okay.
A couple years ago.
Thanks. You, John?
No, I just said there, like, if you want to start, then I'll go ahead. Good morning, we'll call this meeting in order. Monday, the 26th, 2015. Stand for the pledge.
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with any public comment? No public comment. Oh, go ahead.
Sharon Doig, Board Order Reporter. Previously on the agenda had been some public hearings on resolutions, committee meetings, also resolving the Intercap building project 1% loan, and it's been canceled. Any idea when this is going to come back for a public hearing and a resolution on the loan for the building project for the county?
Not at this time, no.
Is there a reason why, since it seemed like it was just about settled at the end of last year?
I think there's just been more confusion brought up, really.
Confusion how?
Which one are you talking about?
Well, in particular, the building project, because that looked like it was just going to, if the resolutions had been read at the public hearing on January 12th, then it was going to be voted on in that afternoon, and because the resolutions weren't here to be read, it was postponed or canceled, and it hasn't been put back on the agenda. It seems like it's been many years and has been worked on very hard the last 2 years at least. And I'm just wondering, you know, it's something that's needed, and wondering about the.
That wasn't brought, the only thing we went on was the other three resolutions. The other was,
No, sir, I copied this from the one that was sent for Monday, January 12th, and it stated public hearing, resolutions, Intercap building project, 1% loan, and it was canceled because the resolutions, along with the other resolutions that were supposed to be there for the commission meeting days, the county office hours, all that's not been put back on the agenda. And so I'm just inquiring.
well, I said there was a change on those resolutions, and so I was just gonna have to pick they said it had to be put in the paper again. And so I'll probably start after this next.
So do you think the resolutions on the Intercap building project will be put back in along with the other?
The other three for sure, I'm not sure on that building one, because I think there's, most of it's more information coming. Actually, it wouldn't matter, I guess all that is the application for the loan. As far as the building, there's supposed to be more information brought to us than there ever has been.
Thank you.
Any other comments? And during each session, as time goes, you're open for public comment. Okay, anything on the Montana Minute and the Commissioner's update?
I do.
Okay.
The wrestling team won this weekend in Shodo. Eli Holm won a first, and Evander Wilbur got a first, and so I thought that was good. The girls
Where
won
was it at?
Shodo,
Page 7.
and the girls played in Big Timber, as did the boys, and both were very, very close games, like 1 or 2 baskets. And Saturday night, they both played here against Shodo. They did lose, but they were close games, so hats off to the kids.
Good.
And I just have to say, I am so glad we live here. When I watched the news this morning, what's happening back east.
Yeah.
I go in there.
4 inches an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, we're cabins, so I'm tickled to death.
It's 60 degrees above in Delta yesterday, 60 above.
It's supposed to
It
be,
was 57 in Geyser this morning on the news.
supposed to break records again today, I guess.
I'll take it.
Trudy Southwick, speaking of the warm weather, I was curious, is there any flooding going on in the county?
Not that I've heard of. When it was still cold, there was a little ice jam that was threatening on the road a little bit, but that's been all taken care of. And I haven't heard of anything else. We didn't have much snow here, so unless it stays warm long, maybe the upper snow will start coming. Yeah.
Good news, bad news, if anybody wants to be entertained this afternoon, Fish, Wildlife and Parks is tagging bull elk up at the top of Quarter Circle. They've got a helicopter, an airplane in there, 4 different vehicles. I watched them chase an enormous bull yesterday afternoon with that helicopter. And they were flying that helicopter backwards uphill, trying to get that bull, and they finally brought it down. Bad news is, this morning when they went in there to turn up Daryl's Road, up to Daryl Baum's ranch, they couldn't get their 4-wheel drive pickups even up the road.
Too much snow?
Too muddy, and then it froze. And it surprised me. But, yeah, they're landing a helicopter up there and got their vehicles. It looks like they're actually gonna try to trap 1 or 2.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. So how many are they hoping to tag?
I have no idea. Yesterday when I first saw it, I almost called 911 because I thought it was a private individual in a helicopter harassing the elk. But I know they got one yesterday, and it was one of there are some legendary huge bulls up there. And I saw 3 of them yesterday. And they came right out of the area where I thought they would be hiding to.
Wow.
Hello, dinner.
I do have one more time. Something that I'd never seen in this county before was this weekend, the hot air balloons were flying, came across the lake, right over the top of our cows, scared the cows to death, and landed just a half a mile up from our house. It was interesting to watch, because I don't know much about it, but you'd see when they turn on the propane or whatever it is, and it'd make a whoosh sound. But it was interesting. I've never seen them before out our way, so.
I have one as well. I just wanted to give kudos to the many volunteers that we have around the community. I went to the trust board meeting this week, and volunteers from the golf course were there. We have a volunteer who takes care of the softball fields. We have a group of volunteers who are working on the Toston Bridge right now, and they spend time at the Historical Preservation Office. We have volunteers in town doing the Christmas decorations, and at the school, at the hospital. So I just want to say kudos to the volunteers in our community, from organized firefighters to just a citizen stepping up.
I don't think we could do it without them.
We could not, no.
Time to go.
Thank you.
Here's a letter from Broder Health Center. This is Dear Broder County Commissioners. The Board of Health Systems has met the obligations outlined in the $120,000 convertible note dated September 20, 2012. We respectfully request that the county convert the $120,000 loan funds to a grant outright as agreed. In exchange for the funds, the Board of Health System has complied with Montana's public legal laws and appropriately reviewed and updated bylaws in keeping with best practice for healthcare facilities as per generally accepted standards. We appreciate all the county has done to support and ensure the success of the hospital, and look forward to continue our communities, serve our community. William Hunter, Chairman.
I think hospital, it's come a long way in the last 2-3 years. And at one point, we were afraid of losing it.
You're not to get the rest of them.
Mhm.
I don't know how they're coming, money-wise and stuff. I guess we haven't had any report on that for a while.
Well, and now, you know, you can do MRIs and CT scans and all kinds of things that you have to go to home for.
The mail item here is Public Service Regulation, Public Service Commission. Please take notice that due to a staff error, the Public Service Commission monthly notice of motor carrier application that was issued January 6, 2015, correctly including notice of temporary authority for Bull Mountain LLC and docket number, has a number here. The January 6 notice incorrectly stated the temporary authority and granted, and in fact, Commission acted on the application, did not do so January 13th. Which has nothing to do with us at all, so. Here's Elaine, I guess. Right here. This invitation, Northwest Energy, well, that's tonight.
It's tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. Where they're hosted by Northwestern Energy.
Actually, I got one, I think that one is yours. You can keep that.
Is that my name on it? I got an email from Howard that was that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess, report on that, I got a hold of Gary Flynn on that,
On the TV set.
TV site there, yes. Anyway, he's, here's on top. There's no, gonna make any changes on it, other than his phone number. But, he wants a letter showing, Denton County's supposed to send him a letter on the liability insurance for that easement. And another thing, which doesn't change the lease any, and he doesn't know if it's, traffic, there's an easement for the county to go to work on this, site.
Site.
And people have been going around it, down kind of through his field there. And, like, he doesn't know if it's, people working on the site or somebody else will, contact, Harold and make sure that he knows about that. And so, I suppose we should have Corey just, change the dates on this here. Everything else stays the same, just the phone number really is the only change on this.
Well, being as he's new, he needs to review the whole thing.
Well, yeah, he probably will, but basically everything stays the same.
Okay.
So I'll get this to him.
That's a plus for the county, because the contract actually says that when we renew it, we will pay 12.5% more. So that's a nice savings for the county.
Very good savings.
Minutes here, January 21st. Any additions or corrections to these?
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the 21st. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You got the agenda book over there? The agenda?
No,
Where did you?
Tammy must be.
yep, it's just stored downstairs, because Tammy's here all the time. She's the one who takes the phone calls to add things to the
Yeah,
agenda.
she was on the phone all the time there, she had the claims, usually she had sitting there with the claims.
Yeah, it should probably come up to the meetings in the future.
That's what it did before, but like I say, she was tied up on the phone, and I just grabbed the claim, and I realized now that the agenda was with us. I guess, because I want to get in there for these journal entries, have that published on the next agenda.
Right.
Oh, and that, I got a hold of Nick. There's,
Courthouse?
yes, in the detention, there was a concern over a claim that was put in about a baseball bat, and then there was a push-up machine and some things like that. And what it amounted to, they had that training over at the school, and this baseball bat was set up as in the training exercise. It's not going into the detention center. But this push-up machine, and I believe there's another one, ACL's been raising heck all the time, they don't have enough exercise equipment there, so that would be put in that recreational. No, that'll be in the pods. Recreational is separate. I believe it's going in one for each pod there, and bolted down. They'll have it in there.
So why
Oh,
did it
and then there was some question, some pizzas that were purchased. And evidently, some inmates did some special work in there on some, I don't know if it was painting or if it was on tile or what it was for sure now. And so they decided to reward them, and they called Brenda, and she was in Helena at the time, so she just picked up those pizzas in there. That was their reward for this extra work.
Very good.
As far as the pizza goes, I guess I would like to make a formal request that pizzas be purchased locally. This is the second time that Little Caesars has provided pizzas. We have 3 pizza places in town, so.
Well, if she's in Helena, she might just grab them right then and brought them straight out.
I would like to officially request that when we can buy local, we buy local.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'll let you tell the sheriff that then.
Okay,
Are you gonna call for the vote?
Oh, okay. In the discussion, you got a comment?
Yeah, on that pizza deal, when it's $5 for a pizza in Helena and 12 for a little one here in Townsend, and the sheriff is already in there, I don't think it makes any guys darn common sense to not purchase it where it's the cheapest.
You had your, oh, I thought you had your hand up. Okay. Okay, the motion was to,
Buy locally when we can,
okay,
correct?
yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. But I can see cases like this here where there's no problem, we're only talking about it.
As far as the bats go, I'm guessing that was for the live shooter exercise that they did. Should it be paid for by the detention center? Doesn't seem to me that it would fit under detention center.
Is there a line item for training?
Yeah, but would that again be detention center with detention center officers, or would it be law enforcement with law enforcement officers that would be responsible for that?
The training that was sponsored, I guess it was sponsored by the sheriff's department. I don't know who actually put that training on. I know the sheriff department worked it, but I don't know who originated the training there
No,
at the
I know
school.
that Brandon Harris and Nick Courthouse are the ones that did
Mhm.
it to school.
Mhm.
So did the bat go after the class then?
I assume Nick has it with all everything else. I can find out from him where the
I
bat is.
just don't want to see it in the detention center.
Well, I'm sure it's gonna be in there. You want me to ask Nick about the bat where it's
Yes,
going from
please.
there?
And who should pay for it. I just think we need to make sure that we keep a clear line, between departments' budgets.
Oh, here's what I did for retention. What's this here? This is some more stuff on that, BLM, on the communication site there. See what you think of it.
So, do we have any clarification on this BLM bill?
Nobody seems to know anything about it.
It says here, there's a note dated 1/22/15, Franklin not sure but thought you might need this info regarding the BLM invoices, I gave you thanks. There were a couple of invoices where there were some changes made to reporting of who is utilizing the tower. And this was, we have some late fees on this, I think it's up to 4,000 at this point. Where are we at on that? I guess I did this to you.
I don't know, I called that, I think it was that Ashley gal, I believe she was in Denver, and she sent the stuff to Tammy. And from the last I heard, nobody seemed to know any more about the thing.
There should be some invoices then in your stuff.
Just what it was sent to, how you doing? That was sent to Tammy.
From looking at Tammy's note, it looks to me like she's giving you everything.
There was a big stack from a couple meetings ago that you took with you to do some research on that. She doesn't have that now. So she doesn't have what she needs if you,
Well, I
she
can
doesn't
check,
have
but
any
I don't-
instruction.
I don't think I have gone through. Pass this down, this is from Four Seasons, just do it. We went through it last week, or read it out last week.
Tammy hasn't advertised that yet. She's going to advertise it. She's working with DEQ to put it out for bid.
So she's gonna run it twice?
I'll send that back to Franklin since it already hit the mail last week. No, she hasn't done it once yet, so it would be the first time. That's just in response to a letter we sent in December.
No, I mean, will it run in the paper twice?
Yep, whatever DEQ specifies, she's gonna follow.
Journals. I don't know, is anybody from the health center gonna be here?
No. No, it's just housekeeping. And since it is 10:30, if we're on that agenda yet.
That's it, that's where we're at now.
What this is, just going back in history for anybody who wasn't here, when the health center and the nursing home first closed, there were numerous phone calls from members of the public wanting to know what happened. There were meetings with the board that were at that time closed, not advertised, and we got a request from then CEO Jan Calgard, right when payroll was due, with a, we need payroll today or we're gonna close the hospital. So knowing that the public was scrambling for trying to get information, what we did is we said, yes, we will go ahead and cover the payroll with PILT as long as you start opening your meetings to the public, advertising them since it's public money. And this letter just states we've done that, we've complied with the request, and our carrot for the stick was we will revert this from a loan to a grant if you comply with open meeting laws. They have been now for 2 years. The hospital has been extremely open, has worked extensively with the paper, has come here to these meetings for updates. They put out a newsletter now to try and communicate with people. So in the interest that they have indeed upheld their obligations, I move that we change the 2012 loan to a grant as agreed to in September 20th, 2012.
I'll second the motion.
Question?
What is the amount of the loan?
120,000.
And that was spent 3 years ago, well, 2.5 years ago.
Kind of follow-up, and
Go
that's
ahead.
separate from the $400,000 loan?
That's separate from that. I don't see how we can make a grant.
Why not?
In other words, we're just giving another 120,000.
No, you're changing
No.
it from a loan to a grant.
That's what I say, that's what actually we're doing, we're just giving them 120,000.
You know, I mean, just like if you get a grant at the school or here, grants usually are paid back, some are not. A loan is definitely to be paid back, and that would be the difference.
There's no new money though, no new money being given to anybody. This is money that was spent in September of 2012.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In other words, she's saying that the loan has gotta be paid back, but a grant don't. So they're wanting to give $120,000 away?
No, I don't think that's what we're saying at all.
I think it is.
Kind of confusing, all right. I think Rush should have a commitment from Corey, what he thinks on it.
Okay.
We already had it approved by the then county attorney. There is a motion on the table. I call for a question.
Any other comments?
If there was an agreement that this loan would be turned into a grant, if they opened their meetings to the public, and if this agreement was signed, it's an agreement just like a contract.
Well,
If there was.
Right here it says in a letter, I don't see a date on it. We respectfully request that the county convert the 120,000 loan funds to a grant outright as agreed, which was agreed clear back in 2012.
If we start reneging on our agreements, regardless of who is serving in what capacity at what time, it is an absolute black eye to the credibility of this county. And we need to start putting, first and foremost, the credibility of Broadwater County back into a place of respectability. This is one small step in that. We made an agreement, we signed it, it was vetted through legal counsel. Again, I call for the question, Franklin.
Did you second it?
I did.
Okay. Been moved and seconded on this, changing this over to a grant. Oh, excuse me, go ahead.
So, I understand the agreement. It goes from a loan to a grant, and from Commissioner Gravely's explanation, is this a grant that gets paid back? Or is it a grant that is a grant? It's
Just a
is
grant
that-
grant.
So that means it's $120 $120,000 that they don't have to pay back.
That's correct.
And that's what the agreement said
That's what the
at
agreement
the
said.
time.
That's what it's saying, but is there a record on that? Go ahead.
Was this Pelt money?
I don't know.
Okay, so Pelt money is granted to the county, isn't it? So you're just, I think you're doing what you should do with your Pelt money, and that's pass it through the county into other agencies or citizens. And I stand 100% behind keeping this hospital open and viable.
There's a lot of ways that HILT money can be used. But if you wanna go ahead on this motion,
Well, I think what this is really saying is, okay, we've done our part, now do your part and just wipe it away. If I'm reading that correct. And I think I am.
Yep.
anyway, those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm opposed.
She's got the original, I just made that copy so we have it. And for the minutes, do we need it verbally stated that motion carries?
What's that?
The motion carries, I was just wondering if for the minutes we needed that verbally stated.
That the motion passed. 2-1.
You have claims?
Yes.
No, I mean, the total.
Oh, I don't, let me see here. Where's my- This must be the total for okay, for the county of, claims of 32,356.64.
Would you say that number again, please?
32,356.64 cents.
I make a motion to approve claims in the amount of $32,356.64.
Second.
And moved and seconded, pay the claims of $32,356. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
Does
is
the
there,
chairman want to sign this right here, then? It says sign here, there's
No,
no place to
it's-
sign.
you go the other way.
Oh, okay, so,
Flip back one page, I want to see what total there says.
this here, let's see, it's a 32,000.
Okay.
Don't see the yellow for,
What?
I don't see the other claim in here. Maybe that won't be till next week then. The payroll,
Probably not.
must be. And this is when that, for me, on the insurance claim on when that water heater busted in the detention center. I suppose that probably should go to.
Would you please read it in full?
Dear Commissioners, this letter involved the past 3 months I've sent Sheriff Ledbetter reviewing, in reviewing our filing, it's noted that we still have not received the requested estimate or photos of the damage that occurred when the hot water heater burst in the sheriff/detention office. If we do not receive the information next 30 days, we'll pursue. You have withdrawn your claim, this file will be closed. Should you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact this office.
Oh. So looks like you need, whoops, I'm
No,
sorry.
please go ahead.
You need to get a hold of Brenda and tell her
Okay.
that they say they need something within 30 days, and actually less now.
Well,
We don't need to be using county funds to pay something that insurance should be paid for.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think following up on this is important. And that's exactly what insurance should cover.
Oh, yeah.
mhm. Bill come in the legislature. Let's see. Mines, Lions, Jackson, Norwood. If anybody's interested in following up on that.
That's the bill we talked about at length last meeting. I don't know why it's still in the mail this week.
Brenda, can I stop you just for 1 minute? Give you a call on that, or maybe it's been taken care of. Thanks.
either one of you been following any of the bills at the legislature?
I haven't.
Yeah, Mako's been sending out their alerts on an almost daily basis. Today we got word that Senator Whiteman has put in the Keystone Pipeline bill assurance, lifetime assurance, or in perpetuity assurance for constant PILT payments. And he's still working on SRS.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was good news.
That was very good news.
Mhm.
It makes you want to just kind of give a sigh of relief, but not real tight yet.
Right, right. We do have an appointment at 10:40, Franklin, or 10:45.
Okay, it's AIP Grant Oversight Risk Assessment. I think we kind of briefly mentioned it, Lena, this probably goes to the airport board. It's, the overseeing and signed by, unless we're a sponsor to the, it's an airport sponsor signature. And the responsible staff's FAA. So, any information on
I put that in the mail last week so we could discuss it. It's due by the end of the month, so it has to be signed today.
that? Yeah, but do we sign it or is the airport board?
Like I said, I put it in the mail last week so we could discuss it. For some reason, it wasn't brought forward for public consumption. But we are actually the ones who need to sign this. It is a city-county airport, but it defers actually to the county. So we are the sponsor. It needs to be filled out and then signed. What we are working towards is we, by FAA standards, have to redo the runway on a periodic basis. That's coming up, I believe, in 2020. So the airport has been saving. We've got a CIP going for the airport. So this is part of that process, and we do need to fill it out and sign it.
I'll make a motion that we sign the grant.
I'll second the motion and request discussion. As far as procurement, that box should be filled out, as should the first 3 and the 5th on the first page, and then the top 2 on the second page.
Okay, let's go through them right now, which,
You see where procurement is?
yeah, the agreement process. Which of those,
Procurement needs to be checked, and then the first 3, and the bottom box on the first page, and then the 2 on page 2.
the bottom one there, the disbursement process
Bottom two.
document?
No, Franklin, we're on procurement. That's the top 2 at the top of the page. Do you want me to read them?
Yeah.
Okay, procurement, it says the sponsor has a documented procurement process. The first box, procurement process document, outlines the roles and responsibilities of each individual involved in processing procurement transactions. This section should also include specific segregation of duties of individuals' responsibilities, necessary authorizations and approvals. Bill Berglund is the grant writer for the airport. He takes care of all that, so check that box.
Mhm.
Did you check it?
Yes.
All right, number 2 box, procurement process document specifies which individuals have been authorized to approve procurement transactions. That again would be handled by Bill, so check that box.
Sure.
The third one, procurement process document, outlines data retention requirements. Bill is phenomenal at that. Check that box. Procurement process document outlines purchase card usage and authorization if applicable. I do not believe they have an authorization card. we can certainly double check on that, but I would say do not check that box. Fifth box, procurement process document outlines processes for goods and services, receipt and acknowledgement. Yes, again, check that box. Do you see what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not gonna read all of them. So the next two, I would say check those. It's more of the process, the procurement process. Next category is grants oversight. I would say check grants oversight. Did you check it? No,
the top
check
one.
grants oversight. There you go. And then all those boxes you can check. Again, Bill Berglund is phenomenal. Disbursement is the next category. Check the disbursement box. Disbursement box, there you go. The top four. Next one is business continuity. Top, there you go. And every box in that category. In section 2, the second box, sponsor uses a mix of manual and electronic methods to conduct business. Second box, and if you want me to read it again, sponsor uses a mix of manual and electronic methods to conduct business. That's the box to check. Okay. Airport sponsors signature, that would be the commission. And we can't sign it till we have a vote. But the first page, you'll want to print your full name and title, which would be chairman of the Broadwater County Commission.
Is there a motion for this?
I will-
Second.
Oh, I guess we already did vote, didn't we? No, we've motioned and seconded. You need to call for a vote, and then you can sign it.
If we move in second, we vote to accept this, AFP grant oversight risk assessment sheet. All in favor?
Aye.
This passed. So put the date, Just a signature, the other thing about printing, I had printed on there, the one.
Okay, again, that's on the first page, Franklin. If you go to the first page,
Oh,
ballot
okay, I see
halfway
here now,
down, airport sponsor's full name. You'll need your name and then your title. One line up, Franklin, where it says airport sponsor's full name, you want to write it there. The other one is asking which airports, you can fill that out accordingly.
Do they call it, city county airport, or what?
There's two of them, that's one, yep.
You know what they use for an address on them? Or just Townsend, Montana?
It's not asking for an address, so I wouldn't worry about that at this time. The other one is the Canyon Ferry Airport.
Is that what that's called out the side? Is it called Canyon Ferry?
And then what you'll probably want to do, I don't see an address anywhere here, but probably talk to Bill Berglund and get an address where he wants this sent. You want to also make sure you get a copy for the commission files.
Well, you copy me now, just put that column to, and add it in its box, it must have a box in there for the airport.
But make a copy of this whole thing first.
Yeah, I'll make a copy of this here. penalty / interest forgiveness decision. We've already forgive that when Doug was up here and explained it a meeting or two ago.
It was an illegal vote because it wasn't noticed properly. I went ahead and put this in just to take the county out of any liability jeopardy. So I move that we revote in the affirmative to forgive the penalty and interest for American Innovative Materials due to their extenuating circumstances.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded to reaffirm that vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It should be added in there that this had already been done once. Schedule there. Oh, here, let's see what we got here. This from the university, I'm assuming we'll have this for this afternoon when the fellow from the MSU is
JC
going to be here. And act accordingly on it at that time.
You know, after all the years that Virginia's been here, I think we need to write her a letter and do a kind of a document as such, thanking her for all that she's done for this county.
Yeah.
I agree.
It'll be fine. Who wants to write a letter?
That's the chairman's job.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, sir, chairman does not have to write letters.
I never read that anywhere.
So if I'm going to write one, or is it going to be tabled?
No, you're gonna write one. And you also need to do a certificate of appreciation, something like that.
Why not? That's what the secretary would be here to do. Here's the BLM on this, the rental invoice for that site.
The limestone one?
Well, that's, I'm not sure, that, yeah, it'd be the limestone, it says on there. So it's authorized held on BLM land.
Would you read the note on there?
It says, I'm not sure how to handle this. According to Ashley, Brenda Ludwig filled out the inventory certification, and this is for Montana Internet. You need to look at the contract you have with Montana Internet. This is late and getting late. But I don't know who's got a contract. I don't think it's on here at all.
It's probably way down in the file.
They're gonna turn that over to the secretary to take care of it.
That contract would be by the commission, so I think they're confused over the change that was put in there by Brenda, which has resulted in a higher fee of about $2,000, and it's actually a 2-year fee. So it needs to be addressed and fixed. Whatever we need to do.
Get rid of it, probably just come back again.
Maybe you could find out from her, or schedule a meeting with her, so we can talk about why the change was made, and how that's going to be paid for. And we can't keep tabling bills.
Looks like Brenda filled out the inventory certification.
Yeah, that's what she said at one time, in her note that, she had filled the stuff out, and that's why she thought they were sending it to her. I'll get this set up with her.
I'll get that back to you, you can show me it when she comes to visit.
A little bit of time yet for the COS. Is there any, let's see here.
If we're waiting, or are you still doing mail?
Yeah, just let's see what this year is.
That's the claims already done.
Well, how come we got this note on here? The proof for claims are not the total amount, the right amount is high. Lighted in yellow, I don't see any yellow.
Actually, when you read out the total last week, Franklin, you read the wrong one. It was this, not the total of the claim, so we need to correct that in the minutes.
Oh, here's a high. Well, according to this, what she highlighted here, her note was, let's see, the right amount is highlighted in yellow, so the right amount is $63,013.93.
I move we pay the approved claims from last week in the corrected amount of $63,013.93.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's passed, paid the corrected claim. And this letter was written before on those gardens.
The Heritage Garden,
What's that?
the
Yeah.
Heritage Gardens.
That was put in the mail last week also. It was missed, but I did bring it up for discussion. And that is the request for desk space. And there's plenty of space in the commission office right now. So we agreed to offer them the space.
Yeah.
They've taken us up on it.
It was taken care of before. They do that down there.
Actually, you can file that because it was already given to Ann last week.
I'll give it to the secretary to file. Since we don't have a secretary, I don't know when it'll be filed. After that, are we gonna get a secretary?
You answer that.
I think we should.
I think you need a job description. You have to figure out what are the qualifications gonna be. You have to figure out how much you're gonna pay her.
Well,
or
that's-
him, whatever.
Right, that's what we started talking about a week ago.
And is there enough work for a full-time secretary, or is it a part-time?
It'll be
secretary?
part-time, yeah, it's part-time. And then advertise for it.
But I don't think we should be hiring a secretary for stuff that we should be doing.
It isn't up to us to be filing this stuff, writing these letters.
Oh, but it is. That's part of our job.
This job is largely administrative, which includes secretarial duties.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. We're gonna have to hire my own secretary.
You need to put together a proposal of what you want and bring it to the commission.
You could actually hire your own secretary. You know, it'd be paid for out of your money, not
Right.
the county. But yeah, if you would like somebody to, you know, pitch in and do that work for you, that's certainly an idea that you could follow through on. It's whatever you choose to do with your private money and your private time, absolutely is fine. Yeah, that's certainly your purview to do.
Any organization I've ever been in through all the years, there's always a secretary that handles all these things. And different things for,
Well, I've been here 6 years and we've never had one.
Most counties are
most of it's all
size,
done when
excuse me,
Natalie Winslow was here. She wrote the letters and did everything that was sent to her.
most small counties our size do not have an administrative assistant or a secretary. The commission does the administrative work, which includes the secretarial roles, the writing letters, the following up, the phone calls, the attending meetings, all that good stuff. And we'll be at conference next month. We can certainly talk to some other counties our own size.
And you need to, on the agenda book, you need to cross out that Monday of that week when we're at conference.
Right. That's, I just left that stuff there with Tammy. I'll have to see what that date is again now.
Let's see, where's your calendar?
Oh, here, we don't have a calendar here anyplace. I do have this. Do you remember when they are?
About the 9th.
9th? Okay, so we'll cross that one out. That goes all week, I believe, doesn't it? No.
First 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. And then that 16th is a holiday, so the next, we have the meeting on the 2nd.
Right.
And then there's the 16th holiday.
So that week we'd meet on the 17th.
Right. And this here will be, week of the 9th will be crossed. And I'll make sure that is, I think that is the date's all right.
I think so.
Anything else in case they, this is, I'll keep that for this afternoon.
I have two things, if I heard you just say if there's anything else.
Go ahead.
Board of Health today will be at 3 o'clock. We had a Board of Health meeting last week or the week before. We didn't have a quorum, and we have those regulations that we had a public meeting on, public hearing on, to approve. So just a reminder, today at 3 o'clock. And then the other one is a little bit more important. The speed limit in Winston. We have a hearing and a position on the Montana Transportation Commission agenda for the 29th. They did not get our letter. Somehow it got lost somewhere in the district. I called to find out what time would be on the agenda, and all last week it was a matter of back and forth. They finally did find our letter, and they are going to do what they have to put us on the agenda. So I don't have a time yet. As soon as I do, I'm going to call Cassie at the Big Bull and make sure that all those businesses are aware so that they can post it for us. and,
And go.
and go. And Nicole is on vacation this week, so she won't be here. So, I'll let you know as soon as I know what time, but officially, we will be on the agenda for the 29th, and it was just a matter of lost paperwork. And Nicole actually took a day of her vacation to hand deliver this letter and a file of information to MTT, and,
Have they found any of it?
yeah, they did. Some of it went to someone who works for the commission, Doug Bailey, but this letter wasn't included for some reason. And so Lori Ryan did call back and she said, "We've got your letter. We will get you on the agenda. I'll just have to let you know what time." So 29th, time to be advised via email.
But they've got the file with the pictures.
They do, yeah, and I'll print some more pictures, do a cadastral, illustrate the area. We've got traffic counts, we've got all the personal testimony, so we'll bring everything up and hopefully prevail.
Sharon's got a question.
Sharon Joy, coordinator reporter, where will the meeting be held?
I don't even know that yet. I don't have a copy of the agenda, but I'd be happy to email you
Please.
as soon as I do. Yep, and
Thank
time,
Thank you.
yeah.
I don't think you should meet right at headquarters.
They might. I didn't even know there was a transportation commission till just a few months ago. So, yeah, I don't know anything about them. They did officially get this letter with the information that Nicole had delivered. It was stamped received December 30th. We had to have it in by the end of December to be on their January agenda. So that's the other reason they said, yeah, we'll go ahead and get it on. Otherwise it'd be April. That's, yeah, it's been a long haul already, so. That's all I have.
Do you need a public comment? Do you have any more, Elaine?
Not right now.
Don't look like we have COS, so I'd say we adjourn till, go ahead.
Can I make one comment? I understand both sides of where the meeting should be held, but I was just thinking concerning the sheriff's deputies, it's a fairly large room. Could we take the back bench out and people coming through go that direction and then out?
I don't know.
Just a suggestion, it's for you guys to take up, but.
The commission has met down there for the last 15, 20 years in that room. Today, all of a sudden, they said that it's fire code canned, so I don't know. We were just moved up here all of a sudden a year ago, or about a year ago.
I'd like to make a motion that the commission always meet up here. I've checked with both courts. For us to be in here on a Monday or a Wednesday is not a problem with them. My concern downstairs is the safety of the public and the safety of the commission. There's one door in and out of that place. And we all know what's happened in lots of places around the country. And here you have how many doors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down there, there's one. You're a sitting duck. Do I think something's gonna happen? I hope and pray it doesn't. But I think it's important that we protect the people and our board, and that we come here where there's more room. I granted, the benches aren't the most comfortable thing, but most of you know where the cushions are, so grab a cushion. So I'll make that a motion.
I will second
Same
the
thing,
motion.
people coming and going through here. Last week, they had to have court, so of course, they met in the, I guess, in the judge's room there, and they're all crammed in that little room. All our stuff is down in the commissioner's room. So if you don't have it here, you gotta go down there, you just go across all and get it, whatever's needed at the time.
This vote was also had last week, so why we had the drama we did this morning, I don't know. It was a 2-1 vote to maintain our presence here, Personally, I absolutely have no problem with the deputies walking through. It does help to keep these meetings at a more calm and respectable level. There's certainly an element with that camera, with people walking through here and with professionals out here in the hall that adds to not allowing that mob mentality that we dealt with for 2 years downstairs to develop anymore. And that is essential to us doing our business, to keeping the violence down. So, you know, there's all kinds of documented requests from employees over being harassed in their offices when we were having meetings downstairs. We had actually a person taking the paper towels out of the paper towel dispensers in the bathroom, folding them up very nicely and placing them directly on the heating coils of the baseboard heaters downstairs. That is the elevation that mob mentality that we dealt with for so long got to. And it was after so many of those reports that we moved up here.
Oh,
for
you're just
our
carrying on
safety.
with a bunch of stuff, and most of you're making
That's
up
not true,
besides.
Franklin. Be
At that same
respectful.
time, they had things outside there. Somebody put cigarettes on, there in some containers outside. Go ahead.
Sharon Doyle, Broadwater reporter. Conflict with the county attorney and the JP, wouldn't it just be easy to get an up-to-date, since they're both new appointees? If there is a conflict, get a letter from them. If there isn't, either way. And as far as the safety issue, get that from the fire department and review those. That would seem to settle either side of the parties.
Well, then we honestly had a guest that had been in our office to talk to us. She went out in the hall and she was assaulted. And that just can't be. We don't operate that way.
I never heard of that. When was that? Must have been years ago.
No, it wasn't.
That would never happen up here when you've got the county attorney and the JP up here. That is much easier, it would be much easier for it to happen again downstairs in the basement when you have employees, many of whom work out in the field. We have an obligation for safety of our employees, of the public, and frankly of ourselves, just like you said, and it cannot be obtained in that room.
I'll get a letter from the fire department. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I'll get documentation from.
That's fine, I don't care.
reports.
But you start going on and on about some of the stuff you're chattering about all the time. Here a while back, claimed how the county attorney was assaulted out here in the hall and everything, and I had already read the officer's report, and there was no such thing to it. It even went before a judge and it was proven there was no assault out here.
I call for the question again, Franklin.
All in favor of keeping the beans up here?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
On, finish it.
It just passed 2-1 majority. Have no access to it. That's the bad part here. If we had another spot, any place, we don't even have a calendar in here.
I think we can find a calendar here in the courthouse somewhere.
Well, that's what,
Yeah,
somebody
one
gave
in
me
your
one. I
file.
had the one here
That's
for,
one in his file.
for 14.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was for 14. That's why I brought this, they got it from the Mako conference.
You
There-
don't need this.
No, thanks.
If there's nothing else, we will adjourn till 2 o'clock.
We should probably recess.
Recess till 2 o'clock.